Hey there, welcome to episode 92 of the Cafe Genius Impresarios audio program. I am your host, Dan Hugo. You are listening on this, I'm recording it on this, the 29th of November, 2024. It's the Friday after Thanksgiving here in almost sunny Las Vegas. It's actually a little chilly. Gets warm during the day, that's good, but winter is coming. It is about 2:20 p.m. as we kick off this episode titled Thanksgiving Leftovers 2024. Hopefully wherever you found the audio program that you're listening to now, you have found the episode description. Contained within will be show notes and a brief collection of links. There's only 3 to the usual self-promotion and 1 extra for this special day. If you are just finding this audio program, do note this is episode 92. You have some catching up to do. The origin story of Cafe Genius, very briefly. Cafe Centro in lovely San Francisco, where startups start. The founding place of such famous website platforms such as Twitter. Jack Dorsey was famously hacking away on his idea with his laptop and a cup of coffee at Cafe Centro in South Park, San Francisco. Unfortunately, Cafe Centro shut down about a year ago. It's unfortunate to say the least, but we took inspiration from that name, Cafe with 2 F's, Cafe Centro. The genius lunches that used to take place here in the greater Vegas area during the days of the downtown project, wherein a random collection of people, not so random actually, hey, invite your friend. Hey, would you be interested in joining this time? It's a sort of an amorphous collection of people that were involved in one way or another, or in the case of myself, spectators. I was spending most of my time traveling for Intel. But when I was in town, I was always curious to know what was going on with the startup scene of the time, the Genius Lunch then. So Cafe Genius combines these 2 notions. I needed a name when we were kicking off our pitch workout room in January of 2023. Cafe Genius it was. So let's get started then. The show notes. If you can't find them, I'll read you the summary. Some call it Black Friday. Here in Nevada, it's Family Day. And there is no shortage of stuff going on that is worthy of comment, discussion, and consideration. Look how brief that was, and I couldn't even read it. Here for Family Day, people are probably not working. If they are, they're probably working with customers, shopping. So my condolences, I suppose. Hopefully it will be a nice, peaceful shopping day or whatever Family Day in some cases. Family Day is an international thing, by the way. I don't know if it's always on the same day. You can flip through that 3rd link. But the fact that now with retail completely online, with the likes of Amazon having Black Friday week, Amazon days, there's a Cyber Monday, all this stuff. So they've kind of spread it out. So I don't know just how prevalent the mad rush, the doorbusters, the total chaos. I don't know how much that's really happening anymore, but I avoid it. The links for today's show are the 2 shameless self-promotion links, of course, and 1 more. Those first 2, you do not have to spend any money at buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo, buymeacoffee.com/Dan Hugo, DANHUGO. And Ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com/Dan Hugo. I know it's probably coffee, but I want to differentiate because it's not coffee. Ko-fi. Ko-fi, maybe. If you do visit buymeacoffee.com, you will find the profile page where I link to my various audio programs, my various GitHub projects, and some other things. I'll try to add some more stuff to that. I do post a blog post now and then. I've also started a buymeacoffee.com only audio clip of sorts. I call it Buy Me an Update. It's a post in the collection of posts. I'm not going to announce this every week because hopefully people will just sort of find it. But I'm trying to keep it under 5 minutes or so, but that's probably the max. A review of last week, some other stuff, and a place to provide updates across all of my various projects. So in one place I can just say, oh, we're doing this differently, etc. Ko-fi.com also allows audio blog entries, I suppose, but they only support certain external platforms, which is a little weird. Whereas Buy Me a Coffee, I can actually upload the audio file and they will host it there. So that's convenient. And there you go. These are both platforms that are often used by open source developers, content creators, and so on. So they're recognized brands. It's a it's a platform, a pair of platforms I don't have to maintain. I've had the 2 pages on these 2 websites for years. So momentum is what it is. And do note that if you do want to contribute financially to my various efforts, you can do so through either of these platforms. Any monies do indeed go towards actual coffee. All of my endeavors are powered by coffee and money, but mostly coffee. No, mostly money. Family Day is a day in Las Vegas, in Nevada, actually, that is the 4th Friday of the month, coincident with Black Friday. Imagine that. So Family Day, but so I've included the Wikipedia link for the article there concerning Family Day, which is a international holiday, like I said, since I think I still have that page open. Do I? Hey, look at that. I do. Family Day is a public holiday in the countries of Angola, Israel, Namibia, South Africa, Uruguay, Vanuatu, and Vietnam. In the Canadian provinces of Alberta, British Columbia, New Brunswick, Ontario, and Saskatchewan, and the American states of Arizona and Nevada. And as the second day of Songkran in Thailand. Songkran is a water festival that's normally in April, I believe. It's a sort of a harvest festival, water festival. So it's they throw water at each other. It's when the temperature starts to rise, if it ever is cool in Thailand. And so there will be just buckets and bins, maybe bathtubs even, full of water, and people just throw water at each other. It's a good time. It was formally observed in the Australian Capital Territory from 2007 to 2017. So no Family Day, and now no social media for kids. I don't know about Australia. What's going on there? The Capital Territory, anyway. So you can see when they're on different days, but everybody does celebrate. All of the places mentioned do apparently celebrate Family Day. You can too. Back to the show. So those are the links. Those are the links for today's episode. So let's get started with Thanksgiving leftovers. The reason it's Thanksgiving, I don't really have a whole entire focus topic, so we'll just cover a couple of different things. Holidays in Las Vegas to start. First, I've already created an episode of Quaggling Sand regarding my hermetic holidays. Thanksgiving is certainly one of them, so you can, if you happen to visit either of my coffee-related self-promotion links, you can find Quaggling Sand, especially on the Buy Me a Coffee profile. Hermetic holidays, I mostly use them as free play days. Vegas is a great place to go hog wild, as one might say, when it comes to holiday celebrations, or just about anything really. But some quiet and time to catch up on things is also a good thing, and I go with the latter. I am fortunate in that my family, my close family, is all pretty flexible. So we've kind of discovered over the years that you can have a traditional Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving Day because the calendar tells you to, but you can also get together wherever and whenever you want. That is totally allowed. If you are an entrepreneur, or even better, an entrepreneurial innovator, I certainly hope you were able to use this long weekend in the best way, whether it's pushing back from your daily grind to celebrate and spend time with the people you want and need to spend time with, or applying the time to your own stuff or whatever else. So again, I will visit family. We will have a gathering of some sort when we all kind of settle on a time, and the place is probably the Phoenix area in Arizona. The specific date and time will be settled upon, and our Thanksgiving will be when we want it to be. If you are involved in enabling the fun economy of Las Vegas, maybe you will have your holiday on another day. Hopefully the crowds were chill and in a gratuitous mood. How about creators in Las Vegas? I don't really use Instagram anymore, but my own entrepreneurial effort, which I've described previously, and I will describe again when we get closer to something demonstrable, has an Instagram account. I just bumped into my desk. I don't think that'll do anything. Has an Instagram account, which I use instead of my own, which I've kind of given up on. has my own Instagram account. So I do wander around the Vegas content creator scene through that vantage point. So Instagram pictures and much more often now reels. They've really leaned in heavily on video, which sure. It's all about the business. The content creation platform is a business, so they do what will make them money. Never forget that. How do we find the many content creators of Vegas? I don't mean what do you think of them. I mean, how do you even figure out where they are? I mean, virtually, physically, that's not really our business. I caught one video clip, a reel. Is it like when you go to I was going to say McDonald's, when you go to Starbucks and you order a medium coffee, they're like grande, they're reels. I saw this with a discussion with some social media managers. It was about which local creators or influencers to contact for a new restaurant grand opening collaboration, which they kind of broke it down into size of restaurant or I don't know, they had their thing. Most of the people mentioned as strong possibilities were people I had never heard of. So there are some content creators that I end up following, or their recommendations, and they look interesting, or okay, sure. But it turns out there's a ton. I think we all kind of knew this. There's a ton of people here. And by the way, LVCVA pays some people, not sure who. That'll be an interesting discussion on its own. So that's the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. So by having content creators and influencers create these appealing pieces of content, reels, TikTok videos, shorts on YouTube, whatever, they're all medium. I don't mean mid, that's a different thing. Most of the people, I didn't know them. So how do you figure out who they are, where they are? Because guess what? Some people will say, well, this one's better than that one. What they're talking about is audience size. When they post frequently and their content is interesting, I know content, people don't like that word, it's very sterile. Then they gain a following, they gain traction, they gain reach. There's all these terms that have really drawn away the personal component of all this. So of course you want to find the content creators that people will flock to and take advice from, influencers, right? You really want the top tier to send everybody your way to your restaurant. And I don't know that there's always a disclosure that people are being compensated. They're supposed to. So, but I'm not really sure. So this seems like low-hanging fruit. Where do I find you can say the best from your perspective? Like I'm looking for, I need opinions on the best Ethiopian restaurants in town. I need an opinion on the best shoe stores, on the best bookstores, whatever it is. Like there are people that just wander around Las Vegas with a purpose, creating these short video reels, for example, about local business. And you stumble upon them perhaps, but it all seems sort of hit or miss. Well, I know that the usual platforms are the only games in town. I've made the games plural. Usually it's the only game in town, but there are multiple games. I am particularly interested in seeing how our smarter smart city might benefit from owning some of its own presence on the internets, globally entering the fray with this, the large platforms. I wrote this. With the large platforms that do not claim regional connection, as we can here. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas is an old promotional campaign. So that doesn't need to be true. And in fact, what happens in Vegas can be published in Vegas, really, when you think about it. And so rather than having to post, I hope Twitter will promote my content through their algorithms and whatnot. You can, why wouldn't you not just have Vegas-centric platforms, plural, with so many people contributing content to it? Now, not to say that keep doing your Instagram and your YouTube and all that. But yeah, why wouldn't a smart city, I keep forgetting, a smarter smart city, such as Vegas in the future, not today, why would they not have their own online presence? There is a .vegas domain name. We should be making maximal use of that. We can also connect with so many visitors from near and far, and it's that's not unique to Las Vegas. The volume of visitors is not particularly unique, although it is large roughly 40 million. Allegedly, the run rate is a little bit down. So we'll see what the actual numbers are for the calendar year and so on. Possibilities. What about the fun economy in Las Vegas? Well, you can't see it, but I've spelled that F1UN. If you do listen to this audio program, I did create a few episodes, I think 3. It was like before, during, after, sort of, regarding what I call the fun economy, F1UN, fun economy. What does the Formula One race do to the greater Vegas area, whether it's on the track or near the track, adjacent to the track, impacted by traffic, delays, detours, etc. We can talk about this more once some of the dust settles. The teardown is allegedly underway. I believe they've committed to 30 days, so the race was on the 24th, I think it was. So by December 25th, they're supposed to have everything put back to normal, so to speak. So it's we can talk about it when the teardown is closer to finished than started. So right now we're close to it just starting. And the lawsuits begin to file in for the year and so on. There were already grumblings from small business regarding some of the same issues with construction and customer access. And there are also some variations in the way of attendance, variations in claims, I should say. Apparently based on ticket sales versus actual scans, people on the ground versus people who paid to be here. The difference is stark. So we'll have to say, who will make what claims about participation and profitability for the people who already have tons of money, and what the impact is on the people who don't. But we shall see. The LVCVA, the Formula One people, Clark County, they'll all have various comments about the success and the overwhelming joy and profitability brought by the race to some. And the world will have a say in it as well. Is Las Vegas the new home of Formula One? That's my question. I've not seen that posted anywhere. It's certainly one of several cities that are popular, ? I did not attend the Neon event downtown. That was a sort of co-promoted, something to do if you're in Vegas but don't want to go to near the Formula One race or deal with the traffic and whatnot. I do understand it was quite a crowd draw, so I have suggested this many times. And in fact, bring your own water is the code name for this co-event scheme. Not that bring your own water needs to actually do this if it can happen on its own, but the basic idea is if you're going to have a sort of a, what do you call it? Not a trophy event, a tier 1, tier 0 event, right? Top draw, right? You're going to have a Formula One, you're going to have a Super Bowl, you're going to have a CES trade show and so on. Why not co-program some events that will provide something sort of relevant, but slightly different for people visiting? I have had conversations with people in for CES. Sometimes they're here for a company, so they're being paid to be here. Other times they fly in for a day and they are only frustrated. Like, I'm so sick of this. The crowds and the strip is so it's crowded and you're like, do you only go airport, strip, resort, hotel, wherever you're staying, to convention center, or occasionally airport, convention center, back to airport and home same day? So if people are only seeing a trade show or whatever the event is, now of football, car racing, so professional sports, or if they're here to see a show, they may, entertainment events, residences and whatnot, they may be in for longer than just the one day. But bottom line is when people come here for a particular event, there's an opportunity, thanks to inbound marketing, to say, hey, by the way, there's a whole downtown scene, there's the Summerlin, there's Water Street. So I don't know. Well, I'm going to guess that some of this, I don't know if you know this, casinos are sort of architected and psychologically programmed to make it difficult for you to leave. So certainly we're not going to say, hey, while you're in town at the convention center, why don't you head down to Henderson? No, we want you to stay at the convention center the whole entire time. Frankly, I'm kind of amazed that there isn't and there might be by now, a boring tunnel going directly from Terminal 1 to the convention center. And you can't see anything, obviously. So don't worry about what's going on out there above. We're taking you to the only place you need to be. What about startups in Vegas? So there have been events recently, Startup Week, Las Vegas, which was a Techstars event, Global Entrepreneurship Week, which is, as the name implies, global. It happened to end with the with the Formula One race. So, of course, which got the attention? Formula One. Monthly gatherings that attempt to elevate a startup and tech scene or community or whatever, something, and maybe a few others. I don't mean to sound glib, but I'm going to anyway. If you have real momentum going on, one event once a month should be radically insufficient, and there should be far more than 120, 150. Clark County is a population of something like 2.5 million. I think it's more. I think 2.4, 2.5, maybe it's up. I think people, anyway, say it's 2.5 million people. If you want to say there's a startup scene and it's 150 people showing up, that's 0%. There should be a lot more stuff going on. If this is true, maybe there is. Maybe we just don't know about it. I don't know. Did you know about any of these events I just mentioned? And that was only the big two were specifically focused on startups and entrepreneurialism. How do you discover such things if you do at all? They don't get any press coverage. Our entrepreneurial innovation ecosystem suffers, if that's the word, a lack of sunlight. As I have mentioned many times, if this is to be any sort of innovation hub, though innovation destination is a better fit, as I've suggested previously, and I will talk about this again, it should be easier to actually learn about it, keep up with it, and be a part of it even. Well, on that last point, you can be a part of it by showing up and getting a free lunch, so you're in the club. But actually being a part of it means pursuing your ideas in earnest, like actually being entrepreneurial, being innovative, or both. Come and look around, but if you keep coming and looking around and that's about it, or you're trolling for clients, or you're there for the free lunch, I guess you could check the box. Hey, I'm in the startup scene. Do I sound unexcited by this? Yeah, unplussed. This is not to say that the stealth startup cannot be a thing. They certainly are. However, I continue to be concerned that there is a relatively small group of people that make up this so-called startup scene. A lot of hype whenever someone with money or celebrity or both chimes in, and some possibilities on the horizon concerning infrastructure. Will Hollywood 2.0 be a real thing? We'll see. But I am concerned, and will continue to be, about the reality on the ground. That's always what matters. Focus on entrepreneurial thinking in our schools and real outcomes in our oasis in the desert. Meetups are great. If they're just meetups to have more meetups, then diminishing returns. Business in Las Vegas. Now, you can get all kinds of business coverage when it comes to real estate or the big giant casinos and who's bringing in millions. The real estate market, which is interesting here. When it comes to, I always think small business. I always think startups. I always think entrepreneurial innovation endeavors in our ecosystem. So Greater Vegas is home to many types of businesses. You probably know that, with many employing no one. This sounds odd, but it is true nationally also. So both the United States and Southern Nevada, the Clark County area, are about, and now if this number has changed, don't call me out too hard. I did attempt and did discover, but they're not totally clear on boundaries and whatnot. So something like 82% of small businesses do not have employees in Southern Nevada, and it's about 80% nationally. So we're in there. This can mean all contractors, right? Maybe you're a general contractor and you have no actual employees. You have subcontractors. You sub out work and whatnot, so you don't have actual employees. Maybe you outsource all of your work in general to other states or countries, or who knows. Or maybe you're just a solo. Maybe you have a business partner, but you're not employees, right? You both co-own a consultancy or something. So these are just examples, and we probably have little idea who the people are driving this small collection of efforts, right? The 82% of the small businesses in this area have no employee meetups. They have maybe they don't even have a retail storefront. You can't go visit them. Who are these people? And I mean small business in personnel size, right? They may be $1 billion one-person companies for all we know. With a focus on few high dollar brands being the norm here, you don't really hear. Well, I mean, I guess if you're a $1 billion one person company, you'd probably make the news eventually. But we're really into shiny things here in Vegas. Restaurants and bars often get a certain amount of specific attention. It's the hospitality, the service industry, the fun economy that we have. Particularly when they are coming out into on the scene with the grand opening, or coming soon. Like, hey, next month, look for this to open. It was, is it Zippy's? Zippy's is a well-known Hawaii brand. Was it Zippy's? It wasn't Grace's. Zippy's. Yeah, Zippy's. Zippy's opened here. Now it's a while ago, but a great deal of excitement was floating around with the coming of Zippy's. There are any number of well-known brands that come here. There are new concepts. There are famous or infamous restaurateurs who will come here with a new idea. We have our celebrity chef cadre, but we also have small businesses that are just trying out an idea. So all of those sort of compete for any attention, but they do get attention. And of course, when they're shutting down and leaving the marketplace as well, unfortunately, they also get attention. We also have a local cadre. Speaking of that ding word, ding, 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 cadre. Use that word. It's a good word. We have a local cadre of content creators and influencers. I already mentioned them at the top of this episode. That they have full-time gigs, essentially covering the food and beverage scene in our local fun economy. Not to say that that's all that they do, but I think every content creator here in the greater Vegas area will at some point visit any number of restaurants, bars, bakeries, coffee shops, pearl tea shops, etc., etc. And that's good. These are person on the street self-interviews, basically. Right? Show me what's going on, and you can get an impression. Although, again, as I think I said, not always totally clear if there's compensation involved. So the challenge might be, it might come when there are any difficulties. A restaurant grand opening is exciting, while rampant burglaries of small business locations. My voice is really coming in for an early landing. Burglaries of small business locations, special event construction, and impact on small business. You know what that one is. Economic conditions as they impact small business. These topics are not fun. They don't make for compelling reels and TikTok videos, but they are important. Our local media gives these boring topics just enough coverage to say they did so. So basically the question is, if you are a small business, maybe even a medium business, SMB for the win. So if you're starting a new business, if you're even if it's a restaurant and you get your attention from the content creators, what happens if something goes wrong? Now, I will say, for example, Two New Fix is a Guamese food truck trailer, but mobile kitchen, serving up some delightful victuals. I know the owner, James. I don't know if he goes by Jim, actually. James cooks up some mean barbecue and some other stuff there. Go check it out. They're usually at Centennial Hills Hospital, which I can walk to in like 15 minutes. So his generator was stolen. This is a common occurrence everywhere, but particularly here in Vegas. So one of the, I can't remember which one, someone who has a following reposted something or created, anyway, so at the end of the day, they got a new generator thanks to a generous crowd of contributors. So something like a generator theft can put somebody out of business, because food business is particularly thin margin, and Vegas is not a friend to mobile food vendors. I've mentioned before that I did the old college try to get the Nevada Mobile Vendors Association, a 501c6 business league, to try to advocate on behalf of mobile business. I think mobile business is a essential component of the small business ecosystem in general, anywhere. So that's a longer story for another time. I've probably told most of it previously. Anyway, so there is opportunity now and then to have a small business catastrophe be publicized and then a positive outcome result. things just have to work out in your favor in that case. So we don't have a really good way to share these important pieces of information. It has to be, you have to be stimulating the eyes, the appetite through the eyes, make compelling content. So you have to be good already. And then if something happens, you got to rely on these influencers to help you out sometimes. And I don't know if that's healthy. It's the nature of the business. Yeah, we'll see. Basically, what I've been talking about this whole time is having better ways to share information in a smart city. Sounds like a good idea to me. Next, in Las Vegas, I must get my startup into a testable state because it is about information sharing in our smart city. You knew that. And if you didn't, now you do. This is a high priority lately. A startup that never launches is basically a hobby, and that is almost aligned with what the IRS would say. I think you have to be profitable. Is it 3 or 4 out of 7 years or something? Otherwise, you're just a hobbyist. The aftermath of this second round of Formula One will be an interesting to watch affair as we find out just how committed to local business Clark County and LVCVA and the public in general actually are. This is a harbinger of support for the higher ups, or from the higher ups when it comes to any sort of startup community or startup scene or innovation hub or Hollywood 2.0. Hollywood 2.0 will bring its own money, but and they have an entire industry to promote themselves with. The startup scene here will depend on, of course, access to capital, but it will also depend on some success stories. And so being successful is not a matter of just keep giving money to my selection of potential winners. You have to have fertile ground. You have to have a healthy entrepreneurial innovation ecosystem. I think I may have mentioned this already. If you don't have a celebrity name attached to what you're doing, the powers that be here seem to be less interested, I guess. Seem. I'm alleging it. I hope I'm wrong. I usually hope I'm wrong. That's kind of weird. If all goes to plan, the return of the Genius Roundtable with community of practice underpinnings this time will unfurl in January of 2025. Our initial community of practice will be focused on technology and the startup scene as it relates to that, but communities of practice that align with non-technical restaurant, hospitality, service industry type businesses, things like this. So we'd ideally like to have multiple inputs, multiple sources of insight, and eventually a cadre, that's the third time, a cadre of intelligent, capable, experienced entrepreneurs, small business owners and operators in the greater Vegas area who know how things work to form a, the word I was going to use, of entrepreneurs in residence. That is, I've been there, I've done that, I'm still here, and come to me with questions, or I can offer my insights, or hey, if you're looking, if you're in the LVGEA, the Global Economics Alliance, or if you're in the city council, or if you are a member of the city staff somewhere in economic development, boy, I wish I knew who to talk to about entrepreneurial endeavors in the greater Bay. Rather than just reaching out to the same people every time, here are people who have actually started off being knowledgeable, and through discussions in the community of practice infrastructure are more knowledgeable. They will, by design, be genius from the round table. That's about the end of my voice for today. I will say it has been improving generally, but at this moment, for whatever reason, the frog is returned, and so I must go. On that note, I hope you had a very pleasant long weekend for this Thanksgiving 2024. Hope you enjoyed the leftovers. Whenever you did, leftovers are good for some time after Thanksgiving. Just keep them refrigerated or stored safely. You don't want anything to grow. No weird stuff in your leftovers. And that is where I'll leave it for today, the 29th of November, 2024. The year is about to end. Let us hope that is the only thing ending. Take care.